So, how is everybody doing out there today? How is everybody doing? So, today we are here with you live as usual with episode 4 of Community Corners. And today we have a special guest with us, and we are streaming live from City Hall. So, our special guest is Mr. Mayor Patrick Madden. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great. And our and my co-host, Miss Antoinette Lawson, CEO and founder of Women with Voices. So today, as usual, we come to bring you another great special guest, another leader of our community. So we want to just have another dope conversation, man, and see what's on the mayor's mind. You know, so how you doing today, Miss Antoinette?
I'm great. I got my footsteps in today.
Already.
Already.
Good for you.
Okay. So, all right. So, one question that I wanted to always ask you, Mr. Mayor, was how did you make your transition from Trip to the mayor's office?
Well, it's a great question. I haven't actually had time to think too much about it, but a lot of things are transferable between jobs, and that is focus. Being clear about what your values are, what your priorities are, and the things you need to do to move forward, and bringing in good people. I tell people the only superpower I have is convincing smart people to work for me. So it's getting the right people in. They have to be there for the right reason. This is not about building your resume. Yeah. This is about serving the public. And then getting people who buy into the same values that I have, the things that are important for me. If you can do that, you can teach the rest. You can teach the skill set, but values are critical. So that was very important, and that's a transferable skill from the time at Trip. There were things, however, that are just very different because we're in the public sector, and we have a lot of oversight by the state government, and there's a lot of rules and regulations that sort of that I didn't have to deal with in the private sector. So just as an example, if somebody comes to you and says the cars are going too fast on my street, can you drop the speed limit to 20? You would think, well, I'm the mayor, sure, I can do that. But you can't.
Wow.
There's a state law against that. So there's not as much flexibility in terms of solving problems, and it takes a lot to get used to those limitations. And, I'm sure they're there for good reasons. Somebody along the way in the past had abused them. So new rules are constantly being written to keep everybody in check. But, learning how to navigate that world has been a little challenging.
Wow.
And if I may just back up a little bit, Trip, for those of us that are looking from downstate or somewhere else, can you tell them a little bit what is Trip? What is it?
Sure. Trip is now 50 years old. Trip stands for Troy Rehabilitation and Improvement Program, and it was started by a group of clergy a long time ago in the more distressed areas of the neighborhood, and the goal was to build community in the neighborhoods. It was done mostly through buying and rehabbing vacant buildings and selling them to homeowners. So it branched out into a bigger community development focus, but basically it's working in neighborhoods, helping people get situated in their housing, of safe, affordable housing, and then developing their own leadership skills so that they can be their own spokesperson in the community.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And the other question I wanted to ask you too is about the pools. How do you feel about the hard work now that it's been, and now the pool is going to open this summer?
Yes, that's very exciting. I think you have to feel great about that. Just backing up a step, I think that people didn't really understand why they were closed.
I can agree with that.
It's not that we hate kids. It's not that we hate swimmers. The pools, when we took a good look at them my first year in office, were actually dangerous. And I was afraid someone was going to get hurt or worse in the pools. And that's been backed up by engineering reports. So it was a tough decision because we knew that it was going to take some time to muster the resources to get them back online, to get us to a point where we could invest that kind of money that was necessary to make them safe and enjoyable for the kids. So we've moved to that phase now, and we are on target to open the South Troy pool for this swimming season, so
that's
by July
fantastic.
1st. So
Ooh.
that's very exciting, and we're working, the Lansingburg pool at Knickerbocker Park is a bit more complicated for a number of reasons, so that is not under construction yet, but because that had deteriorated beyond the point where it could be repaired, we will be replacing that with a brand-new pool, and we're working on that right now.
Wow. I think that is awesome, Mr. Mayor, that you guys will have one of those pools open. But I must say that the last couple of years that the pool have been closed, that you guys has took steps to make sure that our young people had something to do. Like you guys had connected with the Boys and Girls Club last year, and you guys hooked up this whole grafting thing in replace of us not having a pool. We had a chance to take a lot of our young people out to go swimming. You know, so how did that come about? That whole process of bringing that about?
Well, we knew that the kids needed something to do, that the pools were almost the last thing left that the city did for kids. And in their absence, we knew we needed to find an alternative. And at the same time, we knew that there were very competent, sophisticated youth organizations in the city. So the Boys and Girls Club, the two of them, the Troy one and the Lansingburg one, the YMCA, the Arts Center, these facilities were already serving kids, and we thought if there's a way to leverage some resources out of the city to assist them, that there could be programming that would take up the slack. And it turned out to be a home run. I mean, these organizations are terrific, and they offered an array of services beyond just swimming. So the kids learned how to go fishing, they learned, they had sports programs, they had art programs, they had a variety of things to do in addition to swimming, in addition to swimming lessons. So that was nice, but it will be good to get the pools back online. We also made an effort to work with the fire department to put out temporary sprinklers for the kids when it got really hot.
That was awesome, man.
And we got all the sprinkler pads open. We worked with the Troy Housing Authority. So
awesome.
we tried to provide alternative options for the kids, and some of them actually are actually better than the pool. But you know, that didn't stop us from trying to reopen the pool as well. So again, you can never have too many options for kids in this house.
Yes.
I agree.
Wow, that is totally awesome. So, Mr. Mayor, how confident do you feel about developing Monument Square and really bringing to life our waterfront?
We're very confident in that. I know there have been what appear to be a couple of false starts, and it's not because people don't have an interest in developing it. It's actually the opposite. It's that so many people care so passionately about that site. And our goal is not to get a building built there. Our goal is to build an asset for the community. And so that entails buy-in from the community. So we have completed a very intense, and we're not completed it, we're not done yet, but we undertook a very intense community planning process around that last summer, and it generated a lot of participation and feedback.
Yes.
And you know, we're honing in on what will be best for the community there, based on what they want to see and how they want to interact with the park. But that's happening at the same time that we're completing the seawall renovation. We're looking at developing more of a walking park along the riverway so that people who live downtown and in North Central get access to the river and can walk along it. Some of the nicest cities I've been to provide opportunities to just enjoy the riverfront. You know, walk along the river, see wildlife, or see shops, or see both. And so we're taking advantage of that and building that out. So as we complete the wall, the riverfront park will be extended northward, and the marina will be rebuilt. And we've got the bikeway along the riverway, and we'll be extending that into North Central.
Awesome.
We have the boat launch up on Ingalls Avenue, so you can put your you can put your houseboat in up there, Tafari.
That's what I'm talking about.
When your ship comes in, you got a place to put it. So.
And we know that it's a lot of stuff that we don't get to see, we're not privy to see, but where do you get your motivation from and your endurance to be everywhere? You're so active, and what makes you feel the need to be everywhere?
Well, it's in my DNA. That's, I come from a community development background, and I've always, in this job or at Trip, the best part of my work is being out in the community. It's meeting people, because it's where you begin to make change. I can read studies all day long, but where I really learn about people and what they want is at their kitchen table, or at a community event when they get my ear. That's very, very valuable information. But it's where I feel comfortable. It's where I like to be, and frankly, I wish I could do more. But there are so many good things going on in Troy. You run into conflict all the time, and you can't be everywhere. I'd like a clone so that I could get to a few more things. But it's just what's important to me.
Wow. Well, I would say that you have very good endurance, because ever since you have taken office, I've been inviting you to many, many, many events, and I would say you is a very busy man, but you have came to at least 80% of the community events that I have done within the city within the last 3 years. So I really appreciate that, man. It's very hard to get someone in your position to really attend all of these kind of community engagements. I would say that you is very engaged in your own city, and I really appreciate it.
It's important. I think it conveys to people that you care about them, yes. That you're trying to understand their issues, that you have empathy.
Yes.
And just showing up, even if I can't offer a solution in that moment, just showing up shows that I do care, and I do care. So keep inviting me. I'll get to as many as I can get to.
Yes. So we have seen a lot of progress on major projects and other neighborhood initiatives. Can you talk about some of your accomplishments during the last 3 years?
Sure. I think probably the most significant, and also probably the most boring, is the work that we've done on the finances. The city was in tough financial condition, and still is, but we're doing better. When we came in, we would decide which bills we could pay this week and which ones we could put off. We were a house that was financially distressed. We've made a lot of, and that handcuffs you in terms of, well, what can I spend on the parks? I got nothing left after I pay for police and fire and plowing and garbage pickup. And so over the years, we have neglected some of the quality of life investments in our kids, in our parks. Getting our finances in order is the first step toward being able to address those things.
Yes.
So we have had credit rating increases. Our risk score has been reduced. The state comptroller's office, which oversees our finances, is very happy with the work that we've done. And we're getting to the point where we can begin investing in some of the things that have been neglected for so long. So the pools, the riverfront walkway, the park. We're looking at some significant renovations to the park on Ingalls and 7th. I think that's going to be a thrilling project. I can't wait to secure the rest of the financing and start that moving along, hopefully this fall. And then we'd like to take that to other parks as well, 112th Street, Canal Ave Park. These are amenities that our community should have. They're different than the pools. They serve a different age cohort, perhaps, and they're decentralized, so you don't need to have a car or hop on a bus. If you have little kids, you can take your little kids to the splash pad or the playground at these facilities. So, getting the finances in order is the first step in enabling us to move in that direction. I think we've created a sense of stability, so that we see a lot more investment in the city by developers, and people will say, well, how does that help me? But it builds the tax base, and when they see a government that is acting responsibly with respect to finances, and doesn't get too consumed in the political nonsense, then they feel better about investing in the city. So if you look out the window, you can see any number of construction projects going on, and they're all funded by investors, outside businesses and people who are confident in the city of Troy's future.
Yes.
And as we build that base, it gives us resources to address the quality of life things like parks.
Wow.
It's all part of a puzzle.
And along those lines too, so what's ahead for the next couple of years for you, and are there any specific things you're hoping to accomplish?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, we're looking at the pocket parks, youth programming. I think, unfortunately, as we struggled financially over the past couple of decades, the first things that get cut are the youth programs and the parks and the quality of life stuff, because they're not, they're important matters, they're not urgent matters, like plowing, like trash pickup, like police, like fire. So we are moving to the stage where we can begin focusing some attention and resources on there. So like I said earlier, you can't have too much youth programming. If we could rebuild some of that, if we could give our kids options so that they, if they come home to an empty home after school, they have a supportive place to go to engage, to learn, whether it's, tutoring and more school activities, or whether it's sports, or whether it's arts and crafts, or whether it's music. Let's give those kids options to grow their natural abilities in a positive way. So that's very important to us as we look in the years ahead.
You sound very passionate about what you do and what you hope for this city of Troy. Is there any particular cause that's close to your heart, and why?
Well, again, coming from a community development background, I'm interested in ensuring that, as we raise the tide in Troy, that all the boats go up, that the people who have been disadvantaged by investment decisions or the way the economy has moved in the past have the same opportunities to advance as everybody else. I think about governing as serving the people who are here as much as, if not more than, the people who we would like to have move into our city. So we'd love to grow our city, but we also have to focus on the people and the issues that are here right now. So making sure that we get opportunity to the people, the long-term residents and families, and making sure everybody's boat in this rising tide rises. That's important to us. And it's also important to me to be focusing on the future and thinking about the city has struggled. I, as mayor, the city council, and those who preceded us have struggled with the finances in the city for years and have made some difficult and unpopular decisions as a result of that. And we've seen some of our assets deteriorate, the pools, the firehouses, the parking ramps, the skating rink. These have deteriorated. I want to make sure that our kids don't inherit a mess from us, that we leave them a solid financial footing, a healthy economy in the city, so that they can live rich and full lives here.
Yes,
I don't want them to move away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if there's anyone that has additional questions, they feel like they just are dying to ask you one particular question, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, there are the formal ways. You can go to the website. There's a email address there, mayor's office at troyny.gov. But also, if you see me on the street, talk to me. I'm more than happy to do that. If you see me at an event, talk to me. That's fine. I'm very approachable. I'm not a big extrovert, so sometimes it might seem like not approachable, but I am approachable, and I know that from your experience.
Absolutely.
But come up and talk to me. I'm happy to talk to anybody. I learn a lot talking to people. So Email, face-to-face, whatever you can do. And if you email, just understand we get a lot of emails, and sometimes it takes a little while to get back to everybody,
Okay.
but we do try to do that.
And what about all of your social media platforms?
I have a bunch of them.
Well, come on, man. People needs a way to get to you.
So we have Twitter and Facebook accounts, and I will tell you I'm not the authority on all of that stuff. I haven't mastered that. I'm still very much a conversationalist as opposed to an electronic wizard. But again, off of the city's website, you can link to our Twitter accounts,
Yes.
our Facebook accounts.
Okay.
Instagram, we're doing more with Instagram now, telling our picture with stories and,
Yes.
telling our, did I say that backwards? Telling our story with pictures and short write-ups. So trying to keep on top of the ways that people like to communicate these
Yes.
days. And it's a challenge because in the old days, everybody used to read a newspaper and get their news that way. It's just not the case anymore. So we're struggling with, well, how do we get the word out? How do we communicate? And it seems to shift. You know, at one time it was blogs, and now it's now it might be Twitter. Next week it's Instagram. You know,
It just
you have to be
varies.
nimble.
Right.
So we depend upon you young people to tell us how to communicate.
And we depend upon our wiser folks to tell us when we're not communicating right. So it goes both ways.
I like
Yep.
that.
And I think that's the key piece for the youth listening to that. Y'all do not know everything. I repeat.
So, Mr. Mayor, I really appreciate that you came on our show and gave us an opportunity to interview you, but not only interview the mayor, but bring the mayor into other timelines to get to know the mayor personally, to see what he do and what he likes to do and what is he passionate about. At least we start having personal relationships with the leaders of our community, then we will be more comfortable with interacting with everyone that's in our community. And that's what it's really about. So I appreciate everyone that tuned in, that's going to share these live feed. I hope this conversation was helpful for everyone out there. Miss Antoinette?
This is opening a good dialogue, because I think the key piece that people forget to anything is communication. Not fussing to yourself silently about what you like or what you don't like, but actually bringing it forth to the people in a way that's respectable too. And that's the other thing we forget. It's not what we do, it's how we do what we do.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything else that you would like to say before we sign off until the next episode?
Well, I'd like to thank both of you for this opportunity to reach out. And to the people who are watching us, I'd say get engaged. I mean, anybody can be engaged. You may not have a lot of time, but there's a little something you can do. It's your community. It's up to you to have your voice heard. So don't be afraid. Don't be timid. There's lots of good neighborhood organizations and nonprofits in the community that are doing great work. Become part of it and get out there and be working with these people.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Mayor.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it. And keep
Thank you
up the
very
great
much.
work.
Good to meet you.
Thank you.
And when you see John, tell him I said thank you.
I
and
will
keep
do
up
that.
his great work as well.
Okay, great.